Thanks for joining us on the news on NTA International. I am Dennis Adegunloye. The headlines. President Buhari hosts his Chadian counterpart Idris Deby in strategic move towards ending Boko Haram menace in Sahel region. Advancing National Agriculture Mechanism Program, Nigerian Belarus put finishing touches to delivery of 27,000 tractors. And in a bid to stimulate economic growth, the Ministry of Trade and Investment begins engagement of women entrepreneurs for global trade. And we'll begin with bilateral relations as determined to bring to a permanent end the Boko Haram menace in the Sahel region. A high-level strategic engagement has been held between President Muhammadu Buhari and his Chadian counterpart Idris Deby Itno. Their discussions also centered on the imperative of recharging the receding Lake Chad. State House correspondent Adam Usambo reports.
Coming to Nigeria for the first time since his country bestowed on him an honor of a field marshal, President Idris Deby Itno of Chad is also here to formally engage President Muhammadu Buhari for the first time in nearly 2 years. The last time the two leaders met was in June 2019 on the sidelines of the OIC summit in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. And just like in Saudi, discussions held behind closed doors centered on the challenges of security bedeviling their countries and the entire Sahel region, as well as the necessity of water transfer into Lake Chad from the Congo Basin. As President Muhammadu Buhari said, about 30 million people are adversely affected by the worrisome state of Lake Chad, which shrunk to just about 10% of its original size. He said with inter-basin water transfer, the people depending on the lake can resume their normal lives in farming, fishing, and animal husbandry, while irregular migration of youth to Europe for greener pastures will be curtailed, as explained by Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyema.
It's something that's going to be very capital intensive, cost a lot of money, and we're going to have to depend on technical partners, financial institutions, and other partners to help to finance this. That it's something that is not just for Africans, the impact on it, the environmental impact of a shrinking Lake Chad, but it affects humanity. And so everybody has to really mobilize to find the means to be able to carry out this recharging, and the beneficiaries will be the whole of humanity. So the hope is there that we will achieve this, but the challenge is for us to be able to now realize the dream of recharging Lake Chad.
President Buhari also appreciated Chad for its role in curbing insurgency in the region, particularly the Boko Haram challenge. Addressing newsmen, the Chadian leader Idris Deby Itno thanked President Buhari for rejigging the armed forces of Nigeria, describing it as critical to the fight against terrorism and insurgency.
Au niveau de Boko Haram et État islamique de l'Afrique de l'Ouest.
Boko Haram is indeed an evil that has hampered the 4 countries of the Lake Chad Basin and that has done many harm to our populations. The multinational Joint Task Force has had good results. Unfortunately, the resiliency of Boko Haram and the Islamic State in the Lake Chad Basin has been unprecedented. They are being supplied and being trained and being formed through Libya. With the new team of the Chief Defense Staff and the new commander that has been appointed at the multinational Joint Task Force, we're convinced that we can eradicate Boko Haram. There's a lot of hope on this new team with this new strategy. I remain confident that the 4 armies of the 4 countries can finish this evil and eradicate Boko Haram once for all.
In addition to challenges of security, other bilateral issues were also explored by the two leaders. President Buhari wished his Chadian counterpart well in his country's general elections coming up next month. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And in line with the renewed drive to reinvigorate military operations through improved welfare, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Gambo, has inaugurated projects at the Central Naval Command in Delta State. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
Magnificent in exterior and stepping into the interior gives hope to the naval officer with the industrial assets set for use. Now the Nigerian Navy can boast of a garment factory with fully automated industrial lock and stick machines. The factory is in agreement with the federal government's local content policy to reduce capital flight, generate employment, promote research and development.
It is my hope that with time, this industry will cater for the military, other services, and the general public.
The naval chief, who is on operational visit to the Central Naval Command, also inaugurated the Logistics Command Guest House, officers' accommodation, then proceeded to Sapele to inspect facilities at the Naval Engineering College, Sapele, Delta State. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Let's talk agriculture now, and all is now set for the delivery of 27,000 tractors that will fast-track the full implementation of the National Agriculture Mechanization Program. Musa Baba Aliu reports that the Belarusian ambassador to Nigeria and government officials are putting finishing touches on the delivery of the heavy-duty equipment.
Over 15 million farmers across 528 local governments of Nigeria.
This is a technical meeting organized by the Belarusian embassy in Nigeria in preparation for the delivery of 27,000 farming equipment as agreed between the country and Nigeria. Representative of farmers group at the meeting, Aliyu Muhammad Waziri, says the project, which is in line with the mechanization program of the federal government, is expected to assist smallholder farmers who cannot afford tractors.
This project will create more jobs, lift millions out of poverty, and ensure food security coordination.
Belarusian ambassador to Nigeria says the heavy-duty equipment are durable, especially in the areas of its lifespan, spare parts, fuel consumption, and is easy to operate.
The Republic of Belarus is one of the ex-Soviet Union countries which was able to save. Our quality is well known of the Belarus tractor. Some of them are still working in Africa since 1970s.
By taking the insurance cover, it will enable them to have peace or to have succor that their investment is being protected.
Special training programs have been scheduled for the farmers to ensure maximum utilization of the equipment. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Minister of State, Industry, Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagum, has begun engaging women entrepreneurs with a view to stimulating economic growth for the African continental market. Benny Adams reports that the target is to increase the volume of intra-trade from 15 to 25%.
Fatima Abubakar Abdullahi has been an entrepreneur for many years. Taking advantage of networking forums like this have seen her grow in leaps and bounds, leading to her becoming the Vice President, Northwest, of the Organization of Women in International Trade, a platform she is using to promote the lot of women in her geographical enclave.
They have ready-to-export products. So we are trying to have an incubation center for them so that they can come and manufacture their products there and get certified.
Without doubt, the implementation of AFTA in Nigeria will only live up to its potential if the benefits from intra-continental trade are inclusive and if it leaves no one behind.
The signature on these papers is an endorsement of an understanding aimed at growing the trade share of the Nigerian woman on the global scene.
Our women-owned businesses should play leadership role in the export of our fashion and garments, as well as in the provision of related services to the African sub-region.
Minister of State, Industry, Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagum urged the women to take advantage of the ease of doing business environment in the country to boost their trade.
I would like to affirm the readiness of the ministry to collaborate with the private sector in achieving its mandate.
It is expected that this new partnership with the Nigerian Entrepreneur Forum and the federal government will bring to actualization the dreams of Fatima Abdullahi and her counterparts across the country. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
In other news, the ECOWAS Parliament has initiated mechanisms to improve remittances of community levies by member states needed to fund ECOWAS projects and institutions. Onengiye Fineface reports that this was at a parliamentary seminar in Freetown, Sierra Leone.
The protocol relating to community levy for ECOWAS is an agreement reached by member states to make voluntary contributions to generate revenue to enable ECOWAS sufficiently finance its institutions and projects. Owing, however, to peculiar economic challenges and the COVID-19 pandemic, the expected remittances are not being made by member states. This seminar highlights the role of ECOWAS Parliament in improving contributions to the community levy. Speaker Sidi Mohammed Tunis said the community levy is needed to implement regional programs targeted at fostering the integration process by improving the livelihoods of the people in the sub-region.
With a concerted effort, we can succeed in getting our states to honor the protocols and declarations we have signed up to. The ECOWAS Parliament stands prepared to follow up on the recommendations emanating from these discussions and support the Commission and other institutions in ways that guarantee robust actions aimed at mobilizing all member states to fulfill their obligations to the community.
Parliament recommended leveraging existing rules on community levy to achieve positive response, but insisted that issues around sanctions for non-compliance are to be determined by the authority of heads of state and government. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
Strategic education planning to fill manpower gaps and the need for experts in steel development are submissions for the establishment of 2 federal higher institutions in Kogi State, received by the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TET Fund. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu has the report.
Various viewpoints by stakeholders were collectively supportive of the establishment bills. The bills seek the establishment of Steel University Ajakuta and Federal University of Education Ankpa, all in Kogi State. Issues raised by the sponsors of the bills are possible benefits derivable from the Ajakuta Steel Company and existing structures in place for the take-off of the proposed Federal University Ankpa.
Consider the memorandum of the respective organizations and associations as the basis for the actualization of this laudable exercise.
We will leave it open for another 2 weeks, just in case we are not able to meet up, because we want as rich data as possible concerning this bill.
The memorandum will serve as basis of the committee's report for further legislative action by the Senate. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
You are on to the news on NTA International. We'll have more reports when we return after this break. Stay with us.
Experience unlimited super-fast internet access from Intel 4G. Intel. Live more.
Thanks for remaining with us. Let's now turn our attention to health matters. And the COVID-19 pandemic has reversed development gains for millions in poor countries, creating a more unequal world. UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed said this was from findings of a new United Nations report released on the 2021 Financing for Sustainable Development. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday reports.
Investigation shows that global economy has experienced its worst recession in 90 years due to the coronavirus pandemic.
To be joined today by the Deputy Secretary General, Amina Mohammed.
The UN Deputy Scribe, while addressing newsmen, said the international community must take immediate action to prevent more countries from losing their ability to develop.
Disasters don't respect national boundaries, as we've seen.
She said the report warns that in the world's poorest countries, the Sustainable Development Goals could be pushed back another 10 years.
We're seeing between 119 and 124 million people estimated to be the newly pushed into extreme poverty, and the world has lost the equivalent of 255 million full-time jobs. We must never allow a health crisis to transform into an economic, social and humanitarian disaster. The United Nations is strongly committed to helping ensure that all our countries can emerge on equal footing from this crisis and with an equal chance of building a safer, healthier, more equal and sustainable future.
The report issued by the Interagency Task Force on Financing also suggests more flexible monetary policy and immediate action to address widening inequalities towards building a better world. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
Kenya tightens restrictions as coronavirus cases rise, and India begins state elections in a key test for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Over now to Joyce Omitu on Global Update.
With Kenya's COVID-19 cases and deaths surging, President Uhuru Kenyatta has announced tightened restrictions in 5 of the most affected counties, including the country's capital, Nairobi, plus Nakuru, a major transit city. In a televised address, President Kenyatta said the country's rate of infections has gone up 10 times between January and March 2021. Similarly, the Philippines will reimpose tougher coronavirus measures in the capital, Manila, and nearby provinces. It comes as the country fights to curb a surge in COVID-19 cases that is straining its healthcare system. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland's First Minister Elaine Foster has received her first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. The 50-year-old politician became eligible for the vaccine earlier this month after Northern Ireland's program opened to the 50 and over age bracket. A look at the numbers reveal that 102 million patients have recovered from COVID-19 out of the 127 million confirmed cases worldwide, while 2.7 million of that number have succumbed to the virus. In Nigeria, 113 new cases were detected on Friday, raising the country's total infections to 162,388. From Egypt, we hear that at least 5 persons have been killed and 24 injured when the Cairo apartment building collapsed on Saturday. Reports say it is not clear what caused the collapse. However, an engineering committee has been formed to examine the structural integrity of neighboring buildings. Now to electoral matters in India. Voting has begun in Assam and West Bengal on Saturday in state elections that will show how support for Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is holding up following the coronavirus-stricken year and months of protests by farmers against his agricultural reforms. Re-elected for a second 5-year term in 2019, Modi's grip on power is under no threat. But the elections in the 2 eastern states are the first since the farmers launched protests. It is the first phase of voting in both states, and the results won't be known until coming months. And that's a global update. I am Joyce Omitu.
Joyce Omitu, thank you for the global updates. Now, regular exercise, detoxification, good nutrition, forgiveness, and good stress management mechanisms have been identified as some of the best ways to build one's immune system. This came to the fore at a lecture organized to educate the public on how best to strengthen one's immune system in the COVID-19 era. Thomas Ogbetere reports.
Building one's immunity enables the antibodies in human system function optimally, especially in fighting against diseases. Delivering a lecture on how to build the immune system, a medical doctor, John Ogbeje, and a cleric, Moses Uche, say, avoiding anger and bitterness, rejoicing even in the midst of uncertainties, drinking water regularly, having a good sleep, Eating fruits and living a good lifestyle will not only help in building one's immune system, but also aid longevity.
Man is actually born to live and die. How well you live or how soon you die depends on your lifestyle.
Anger destroys the heart and destroys the liver and kidney. Malice does the same thing.
Some participants who admitted that the lecture was an eye-opener also promised to adjust their lifestyle so as to enjoy good health.
A lot of people die suddenly and they don't know that the death did not start that day.
Building our immune system is very important for every age.
So I had to kind of change my way of life. You kept hearing the doctors saying something about system of living of every individual is very, very important.
The major take-home for most participants at the lecture is that building one's immune system is critical to healthy living. In Abuja, Thomas Obeteri, NTA News.
And learning the recitation of the glorious Quran, understanding its meanings and practicing its teachings are an easy way of addressing social ills and criminal activities bedeviling many parts of the country. Sultan of Sokoto Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III stated this at the closing ceremony of the 35th edition of the National Quranic Recitation Competition in Kano. Abdullahi Mustafa has details.
Muhammad Awal of Zamfara State and Nusaiba Shuaib Ahmad of Kano are the overall winners of male and female categories of the 35th edition of the National Quranic Recitation Competition held in Kano. This earned them 2.5 million naira each as star prizes from Kano State Government and slots to participate in international competitions. Sultan of Sokoto Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III commended the young recitation champions for their excellent performance and admonished parents to encourage their children towards learning and mastering the glorious scripture.
And what we do as leaders, inshallah, will continue to support this Muqabala to go stronger and stronger and stronger.
We have made a giant stride in this direction, where the administration established the first ever Kano State Quranic and Islamia School Management Board.
Borno and Plateau are among states that won in lower categories of the competition. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Now, sequel to traffic gridlock reported on Friday, 26th March 2021 around Guru Maharaji, Ibadan, caused by the activities of impatient drivers who drove against the flow of traffic at the RCC diversion. Traffic gridlock is still being witnessed as the volume of traffic facing oncoming vehicles on the inward Lagos section of the expressway is very high. The Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, in a release by its Assistant Corps Marshal, Corps Public Education Officer, BC Kazim, therefore advises intending travellers going out of Ibadan to Lagos and vice versa to suspend or postpone their journeys, if possible, until the traffic situation improves. The release further advises those who cannot afford to suspend or postpone their journeys to explore alternative routes, such as Ijebu-Ode or Abeokuta to link Ibadan from Lagos. Super Eagles of Nigeria qualify for 2021 African Cup of Nations as they beat the Squirrels of Benin Republic by a lone goal. Over now to Olumide Eguntala on Sports Update.
It's a dawn of a golden era in the Nigeria Basketball Federation, as the president of the federation, Amadu Musa Kida, announced that there is no automatic shirt for any of the national team's players based on many factors that include technical, tactical setup of coaches and unforeseen circumstances such as injuries, among others.
It's still an open arena, but again, like I said, Nigeria is becoming the preferred destination for basketball in Africa, and even nudging the global scene.
In another news, efforts are on by a group of Olympians to reproduce future Olympians and world champions across various sports for Nigeria. This is the brain behind the inauguration of Remo Sports Development Council at the Shagamu Stadium.
We have a lot of youth. Whatever they are doing, we can divert their attention back into sport so we can put Nigeria name on the map.
What we are doing today is to rebuild sporting activities back to Ogun State and Nigeria in general.
Government cannot do it alone. There should be private people coming in to assist the government.
Elsewhere, volleyball activities in Adamawa State will be repositioned and revived to make the game more attractive and impactful. Retired Deputy Commissioner of Police Stephen Azo gave the assurance while speaking with sports writers in the state capital.
We are going to start from the grassroots, from the secondary schools, then we go to the teachers' colleges. We will have so many competitions so that we will take Adamawa State to greater heights in volleyball.
He affirmed that Adamawa will partake in this year's National Division 1 League and qualify for the Nigeria Volleyball Premier League next year. In football, actions continue in the 2021 African Cup of Nations qualifiers on Sunday as Namibia takes on Guinea, Sudan versus South Africa, while Tanzania entertain Libya among other matches. With Sports Update, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
And prospects for Sunday's weather is next. And that concludes the news on NTA International. But do remember to always connect with the NTA on the campaign against rape and rapists. I'm Dennis at Digunlu. Thanks for watching.